Welcome to part 2 of our video. If you didn't see last week's video, I suggest you try to watch it just so that you know what we're talking about today. And just to kind of get you up to speed a little bit, if you didn't get to see it, we were talking about the beautiful vine and how it was wrapped around the tree and it was pretty to the eye, but it actually, in essence, will eventually strangle and kill the tree, cause death to the tree. And we talked about Adam and Eve and how the serpent came to Eve and enticed her and deceived her and made it seem like it was in a justified way to go ahead and try that fruit from the tree that God told them, the one and only tree of all the trees in the Garden of Eden, not to eat from. And he talked her into trying that fruit that she shouldn't. And a type of death came to them. So you might want to catch up on that video just so you understand this a little deeper. But the serpent and Satan, you ask, well, how was he in a perfect place? If this Garden of Eden that Adam and Eve was in, it was supposed to be beautiful and perfect. Why was he there? And I'll tell you why he was there, and that's why there's part 2 to this. He was there before Adam and Eve was created. What happened was Lucifer, who is called Satan, Lucifer was an angel in heaven. He had a very, very high place in heaven. God esteemed him, and he was basically under God and Jesus in heaven as his rank. And his light, they said, just shone beautifully. And a lot of people a lot of theologians believe that Satan was even the worshiper of music in heaven. And because when they talk about him in the Bible, it talks about instruments being about and around him. It talks about harps and cymbals and pipes and that kind of thing. So it is speculated that he probably was doing that as well, where worship is such an important part of your relationship with God. Prayer, worship, maybe even greater than prayer, brings the presence of God in. So his job in doing that was extremely important. Now, in talking about Lucifer, Satan, the Bible describes him as absolutely beautiful. He was beautiful to look at. He had a high forehead, which they say he was very intelligent and full of wisdom. But the thing is, he was full of himself. He thought, well, if I'm this close to God and Jesus, why can't I be at the same level? Or why can't I even be above them? He was starting to think too much of himself and his beauty and so on and so forth. And he was revered by the other angels because they were lower than him in heaven. So because of his jealousy, he deceives the other angels, and he had great influence, and he got them on his side, like, who says God has to be the highest, and so on and so forth. And so what happened was there was a fight in heaven between, it says, 1/3 to 1/2 of the angels and Lucifer. And of course God won. God always wins. There's a power in darkness, but the power of the light is much stronger. And so God threw them down to the earth as far from heaven as he could. And that is why the serpent was there in the earth and there to tempt Adam and Eve when they came along. So the sin brought a death to that perfection. And that is why Adam and Eve had to leave the Garden of Eden, and they could no longer go back to that perfect place once they had sinned. So I want to just read you really quick a little bit about Satan so you can understand how he tripped up. All right, this is from Isaiah, and this is chapter 14. This is God talking. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations. For you have said in your heart, now this is Satan talking, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation, on the farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. What is wrong with that? Did you pick up anything in there that was repeated over and over? I, right? Well, when it's me, myself, and I, it will get us into trouble all the time. Because what is that? That's pride. That's pride talking. And the greater the pride, the greater the fall. So we need to be really, really careful about our pride in our life, because it will bring a fall. We need to have our antennas up and be ready to understand what can deceive us. Because remember, Satan goes around, as the Bible talks, as a destroyer. He will just eat you up. He comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And he does it in a very sneaky, tricky way, that he'll get under you and he'll find your weak spot without you even knowing. So let's have our antennas up. Let us be aware. This is real. God is real. Satan is real. There's good and there's evil. And we need to come face to face. We always want to think about the good. The reality is there is evil there too. So let's be aware of it. Let's not let it penetrate into our lives. All right. So let me pray real quick. Lord, I just ask you to keep our eyes open for those things that can be deceiving, Lord. Help us discern what we should do, where we should go, what we should stay away from. Let us know when something is coming and creeping into our lives that is not right, and let us be able to stop it and throw it in the trash right away. So I pray all these things in Jesus' name. So go and be joyful, be peaceful, and be loving.